Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis. Because if Shakur has fragile hands and can barely fight, and Tank Davis is continuously just like losing his competitiveness, we need to make that match as quickly as possible before either one of them, either Shakur Stevenson's hands turn to dust or Tank Davis just doesn't want to box anymore.
All right, welcome to another episode, Two Fight Fans, where we talk about all things in combat sports. I'm one fight fan, Colin.
And I'm the other Stuart.
All right, Stu. Well, I gotta say, first and foremost, I think one of your predictions isn't gonna come true this year.
Yeah.
Your boy. What happened? What happened to him?
Well, he definitely got his eyes gouged like 4 times during this fight.
Okay.
And he wasn't ready for Manal Kape. That's kind of what it seemed to be. Colin, how much of this fight did you watch? All of it? Some of it? The highlights?
So here's the thing. I didn't know it was earlier on in the evening. Like, it was just inexplicable. I just assumed it was, an Apex card. It's going to be at its normal time. And it fucking wasn't.
Yeah. So does that mean you didn't watch it at all?
No, I didn't see it at all, unfortunately.
My God.
So my question to you was more like, tell me what happened.
Okay, so, I mean, it was clear. So I will say, I had predicted that maybe this would be like a total snooze fest of a fight, that it would come out, Almabayev wouldn't engage super hard, and that Manal Kape routinely, when he doesn't have an opponent that's really putting the pressure on him, doesn't like to take the initiative. Manal Kape decided, hey, I'll take the initiative, and also Almabayev went, wait a minute, I listened to Two Fight Fans podcast. This is supposed to be a slow-paced, boring fight. I'm not prepared for this. And then didn't seem to have too many answers once his first few takedowns were stuffed. On top of that, like he just seemed like he's not ready for this level of competition. It turned out. Manal Kape, I will say, was pretty good. He was taking the initiative. He was on the front foot most of the time. He was aggressive. Was throwing a lot. But routinely would extend his hand, like fingers splayed out, and raked Asu Almabayev's eyes multiple times in the fight. In the actual kind of like finishing sequence, it was Asu Almabayev retreating and Manal Kape like swinging a left hook, and the left hook was with his fingers out, and it just raked across both of Asu Almabayev's eyes. So it was, again, just like last week with Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong. It was just like Eyepokes City, and the ref not calling it, not taking a point, not doing anything. And it definitely leading to a finishing sequence or an advantage for the winner of this fight. Not that I thought that like what I saw from Asu Almabayev meant that he could win or like he was totally like game. But it's fucked up that you can just rake someone's eyes repeatedly and never get a point taken in MMA. It's like totally, basically legal to just stick your finger into someone else's eye sockets.
Yeah, I was going to ask if, especially after what happened the week before, were any fouls, were any deductions called? And sounds like no.
No, I mean, there was like time call, but never any deductions. There was like certain warning-esque things, but nothing crazy. Yeah, so another one of these where I'm like, let's get Manal Kape into Kape into a title shot quickly, like whether it's, Pantoja's supposed to fight Karkar France, but let's get Kape in there. Also, Almabayev needs to kind of go back to the drawing board, fight some of these lower level contenders, and fight his way up. Because this was a jump. I think he was ranked number 13, and he was fighting number 6. So this was basically for a position within the top 5 or just outside the top 5. And it didn't seem like Asu Almabayev was ready for the smoke. But then also I feel bad for him for like he might have been more ready or more game or pulled a submission out or pulled out a knockout if his eyes hadn't been routinely gouged by Manal Kape. So yeah, not a great fight, but yeah, it at least means that Manal Kape is probably a title challenger and keeps it fresh for Pantoja if Pantoja continues to be the champion, or if Karkar France wins, like a Manal Kape Karkar France fight should be pretty interesting.
Okay, well that's good. So at least it propelled. I mean, we were saying this should propel one of them forward to become a new challenger. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad that at least happened. So
Yeah, but it's fucked up that like it's 2 weeks in a row where like in MMA we've just admitted now that the sport is like you're allowed to commit, 5 or 6 fouls in a row, as long as you play dumb, like you didn't know that you were punching with your fingers extended, or when you kick someone square in the junk, you were like, "Oh no, I didn't know that I did that," or like when you grab the fence. Right. I mean, it's been so routine, but it feels pretty egregious now. And it all seems
yeah,
like the UFC doesn't give a shit about eye gouges. They don't do any new gloves. They haven't like enforced the rules about eye gouging. It's just like, they go back to the same old thing of like, only if it's intentional. But it's like, whether it's intentional or not, it's still a fucking foul.
yeah.
So,
Well, they did add in those new gloves, and more fighters were like, "This is actually going to create more issues now." So,
well, they took the gloves away. Right. We're back to the old gloves now because
oh,
John
we
Jones.
are.
Yeah, yeah. We went back to it when John Jones last fought
I thought
against.
that was only for that fight.
Nope, that was just moving forward.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so yeah, it was less than a year that they had those new gloves.
All
Um,
right.
so yeah, it's like there needs to be a change, it feels like, to reffing to like take away points more readily. Um, and to like actually adhere to like what the rules are about fouls. And then like there's plenty of like tech out there for like new gloves or like glove shape or the rigidity of gloves that could make it so. But also, like Jim Miller had gone on like a tweet thread being like, there's no way to poke someone in the eye if your hand is open, but your palm is facing like east to west, or like your fingers are pointing towards the sky. The only time that people get poked in the eye is when somebody's hand is extended, so your palm is facing the ground.
Yep.
And it's like the ref just has to penalize that. If they see that and you keep doing it even when they warn you, just take a point. Like that will change behavior, Like that will make people go, "Oh, maybe I'll keep my hand closed." Or maybe I will keep like my palm upright rather than facing the ground so people can run directly into my splayed fingers.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that was Manal Cup. Also on Mabayev. Like again, it was 2 weeks in a row. Left a bad taste in your mouth, being like, ugh, this is just people getting their fucking eyeballs poked out routinely, and not the UFC not giving a shit. So, yeah, it was not a great fight.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, was there anything else on the UFC card then that
Um,
I mean, I heard didn't our
JJ Oliver
mutual
did win.
yeah, she won. She got her win.
Yeah, so that was good. We liked that. It was like a pretty boring fight, but she looked good. Um, Chepe Mariscal, the guy who I'd called out, did win a decision against Ricardo Ramos. Austin Lane at heavyweight got like absolutely nuked. Um, no, that's like there's not much else to really. No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, I did hear that they played Dominic Cruz's like retirement package at the fucking Apex again
Yes,
to
yes.
fucking no one, which is
To no one with
pretty
no,
fucked up.
yeah, with no fanfare, with nothing. Did you actually see the package?
No, I didn't because I read about it afterwards. I was like, this is pretty fucked up that they would do this to him. Like, come on.
Yeah, there wasn't even like fanfare on the broadcast about it, and then the package wasn't really that great. And I think probably those retirement packages are better when there's a lot of people around to like cheer and you can hear it and everyone goes, wow. But it was like to basically crickets, they played this package. And
Yeah.
then
I mean, it's
they didn't,
basically an empty auditorium.
yeah. And then they didn't like pause and have the booth say a bunch of stuff. They said a little bit, but then they're like, all right. And then moving on to Donkerson versus Rick Rickerson in this next fight. And it's like, wow, they really just didn't give a shit. Like they have a pay-per-view coming up this coming weekend. They could have done it
Yeah.
then. And
Yeah.
instead they did it here. Or they could have done it during UFC Seattle. Because he announced his retirement way before then. And they decided to do it at this Apex card. Like what's weird is they definitely tasked someone to come up with this video package and spent billable hours doing that,
Yep.
and yet they broadcast it on the weakest card across these 3 weeks. So it's like, I can't even tell if it's, like, spite or laziness or, like, just full buffoonery. But that kinda sucks. I feel bad for Dom Cruz, to have his package come out now. Very strange, very weird, pretty lame. Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was
That
that.
it really does feel like they are doing the absolute bare minimum across the board on everything right now.
Yeah, 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 and it's gonna continue that way because they have no need to go to do anything different, right?
Yeah.
They
They don't.
I think the TKO I should have thrown this into our rundown for this episode. I'll do it next, time we talk. The TKO earnings, the holding group that has, WWE and the UFC in it, they just,
Yep.
their 2024 revenue was $2.8 billion, um,
Jesus.
which is up from, I think, 1.6 billion, so, like, more than double. Uh, so they don't need to try hard or do anything because they're just making money hand over fist, and that's primarily because their overhead on actually paying the talent is only 13% of their revenue. Um,
Jesus.
yeah, so they just are just extracting a shitload of money out of us as paying customers to watch like a worsening product objectively, and then paying the talent, the actual fighters, less and less to get that product. Um,
Yeah.
it's it's shameful, man. It's shameful. Yet here we are, talking about it, watching it, caring about eye pokes in the sport. It's rough, man. It's rough.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, just look at this. Like you said, there's a pay-per-view this coming weekend, and this is going to be the fifth pay-per-view of the year so far? Fourth?
Oh, it can't be fifth, can it? Maybe it
I-
can be. I don't know. Because what do we start with? I don't know. I'll look it up real fast. But
Okay. Yeah.
make your point.
But yeah, and on that card, it's who are you really excited to see there? Like we
Well, they
were
have
originally.
Alex Pereira, right?
Yeah, we got Alex Pereira versus Uncle Liev, which we were definitely looking forward to. But
Mhm.
we originally were also looking forward to Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker, which is no longer there. And
Yep.
yep, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. But then you have these like that Miami card with Volkanovski and Lopez and all that stuff. Like that's a great card. It's. I mean, there's just. I mean, this has been the case even since like the Fox Sports era. Is like there's just too many damn cards. There's too many damn cards, and too many of these fights are filler, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
the UFC heavyweight division has only 29 fighters, and that means more than half of them are in the rankings, regardless of skill. In order to revitalize that, they don't seem to be trying very hard to bring in new heavyweight talent. They won't, like, Francis Ngannou can be brought back. There's no reason he can't be brought back to the UFC. That would reinvigorate it. Or try to get
Mhm.
other heavyweights from the PFL, and they're not doing that.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, they don't give a shit. They don't care. And all these new fans that have come in since COVID have come to kind of expect this level of Dana White contenders, alumni as the majority of the fights, as
Mhm.
kind of the standard bearer for what UFC events are. Um, yeah, it's rough, man. It's
Yep.
rough. So yeah, that was the UFC one. Like, it was not very good. You didn't need to watch it. You didn't need. Shout out to JJ Aldrich. Like, also Almobayev. Turns out he isn't quite the droid I was looking for. Manal Kape maybe could be an interesting title challenger, though he's already fought Pantoja and lost pretty decisively. So like, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you catch boxing this
I
weekend?
did. I did.
Ah,
I
you
watched.
did.
I did watch Tank Davis because there's nothing else. There's nothing to distract me. So yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay, what are the? Tell me your two big takeaways from this Lamont Roach Tank Davis fight.
Okay. So I want to ask you as well because I couldn't tell if one was Roach just more game than we because neither of us really know anything about him. And we are just kind of writing him off as going to be like, okay, he's just going to be another like knockout loss added to or knockout victory for Tank Davis, and at the first start is like, okay, kind of slow start, just
Mhm.
kind of I was going, and then it's like, okay, starting to pick up speed, and then it's like, huh, this is like way more closer and way more competitive than I feel like it should be. Because I also felt like Tank Davis had advantages everywhere. Like he was hitting harder, he was faster,
Mm-hmm.
but for whatever reason, he just couldn't put it together. And whether it was like, yeah, he just had way too slow of a start to build any momentum, or was he really like kind of mentally checked out, like you said, like he just doesn't really care,
Yeah.
Like I couldn't, especially since like I only have the his like most recent fight, or to like judge him based off like a live viewing of his fights. Like
Mm-hmm.
I can't really tell, but now it's like, okay, like is this like you said, is he kind of getting to a point in his career where he just doesn't care as much? He doesn't have that hunger, or that like we talked about with Adesanya before, where he had like legitimate anger and hate in his heart that kind of fueled him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, I think we called it out last week of like it's kind of this is going to be kind of a gut check on like where Tank Davis is. And
Yeah.
even if you drop off in sort of your like competitive fire or like your verve for competition, that will come out when like the going gets tough. How hard are you willing to push back against like the opposition? And it did feel like he just doesn't quite have that same whatever you want to call it, venom, competitive drive, whatever, that he had. But I will also say, like, Lamont Roach, like, stumbled him a few times in this fight.
Mhm.
Lamont Roach was, like, countering quite well. Lamont Roach did seem to have a good game plan, which is Tank loves to be the counter puncher, and Lamont was forcing him to go first, and then countering him. Um, you are right that, like, it did look like Tank Davis, like, when Tank landed hard, it had a lot more impact on Roach than when Roach landed, but like he was still landing and he was still landing at a good clip. So yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that this is not the peak of Tank Davis's like career.
Mhm.
When it comes to like his overall skill and like willingness to kind of die in the ring. But like I don't want to take anything away from Lamont Roach because he performed super well. He had a great game plan. He was boxing his ass off in there. And I thought like very clearly got robbed.
Mhm.
I thought he should have clearly won this fight, and like that. I guess we got to talk about it. What do you make of that knee that he took? Not Lamont Roach, but Tank Davis took just randomly in the middle of I think it was the eighth, and then stuck his head out of the ropes just to get his eyes wiped by his corner, which I'm
Well,
pretty
I
sure is illegal.
no, it was because he forgot to get his mouthpiece.
No, he said it was because he got grease in his eyes from his hair.
I thought it was because he forgot to get his mouthpiece back, so he took the knee to go over to his corner to get it put back in.
I don't think so. After the fight, he said it was because of his like grease from his hair.
Let me look this up here.
Also, like that was like what 2 minutes into the round. Like you didn't realize if it was the mouthpiece, you didn't realize that. And also, like if you take the knee, that's that's a knockdown.
Yeah, but
You can't
the
just like
the ref
stand there.
waved it off. Yeah. No,
Uh,
you're right. Yeah, it suggested that he had something in his eye. So, hmm.
yeah, and he claimed it was like hair product from his hair. But it's like again, you you can't just take a knee and then have that not count as a 10-8 round against you. You know?
Hmm.
Like that's you lost like that's you took a knee. You chose to take a knee, right? You can't be like get hit in the body really hard and then take a knee and go like, "Ah, no, it's just cuz I had something in my eye. I don't want
Hmm.
to have that count as a knockdown." Like what the fuck? That's not how this works.
Right, right.
And if they had counted that a 10-8 round like it should have been, then two of the judges that had this as a draw should have given it to Lamont Roach. So
Yep.
like royally fucked, man. Lamont Roach got royally fucked.
Hmm.
It was so weird to jump from the UFC card to this one to see like just blatant fouling not getting called, leading to the finish against Aswell Mabayev, and then this, where it's like this is like a clear infraction of the rules and definitely should be overturned, and yet like Davis just got away with it and doesn't have a loss on his record because of it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Any other storyline on this fight that you were thinking of? Like, uh,
Well,
a weird one, man.
it is,
Super weird.
and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, do they immediately run it back? And Tank originally said yes, but then he's thinking like maybe not until next year. So,
I
and
know.
what do you think? What is the fight? What is the fight that you want to see next for Tank Davis? And what do you think will actually happen?
Yeah, I don't know. So apparently, like, he was gonna call someone out, who was in the audience. Like, there was a big plan to like, he wins the fight, he brings someone into the ring, he calls them out. Isak Pitbull Cruz was there, and they'd had a fight before, and so people were speculating maybe it was going to be a rematch with them. Shakur Stevenson was there, but they keep like
Mhm.
not wanting to fight each other, and then Jake Paul was there. I don't know how
No,
you make a Jake Paul fight between Tank Davis, but my
especially
assumption
as
was,
Tank Davis is 133 pounds.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. It'd have to be some freak show fight. But I mean, if it's in Saudi Arabia, like they can commit, like they can approve that at any moment. It doesn't matter, you know. They don't
well,
have to like.
apparently Tank Davis doesn't want to work with Saudi Arabia. He doesn't want to work with Turkey Al Sheikh. So,
Sure. But I mean, $50 million might change your mind. You know what I mean?
sure,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I assume it was probably the Isak Cruz fight, which like I'd be happy to watch that one again. But I think this one is more enticing.
Mhm.
It does sound like maybe Tank Davis's team is now reaching out to Lomachenko because Lomachenko has one of the belts in this
Yep.
division.
Hmm.
That'd be, but like I want Lamont Roach to get a big, like Lamont Roach won this fight, and I feel like he's not getting enough kind of props for that because everyone is just talking about like how fucked up that weird knee situation was. So
Right.
I'm like, I want to see Lamont Roach versus Lomachenko, right? Like that's
Oh,
I,
okay,
I I'm
okay.
more interested in that. And then Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis, because if Shakur has fragile hands and can barely fight, and Tank Davis is continuously just like losing his competitiveness, we need to make that match as quickly as possible.
Mhm.
Before either one of them, either Shakur Stevenson's hands turn to dust or Tank Davis just doesn't want to box anymore. Um, I do feel bad not saying like Lamont Roach getting the immediate rematch, but I don't think the immediate rematch is going to happen. And
Right.
my worry is Lamont Roach is going to have to go back and like fight someone that's not necessarily a no name. Maybe he'll get the Isak Cruz fight, um, but I want him to get a chance at a belt and like a big name
Mhm.
because he did so well in this fight. I thought he
Yeah,
boxed his ass off. Um,
he did
yeah,
impress, especially since you and I didn't know anything about this guy. So,
yeah, yeah. What do you think? What do you want to
so
see?
yeah. I think the Shakur Stevenson could be like it's like you said, it's a matter of timing and like trying to get them in now
Yeah.
before things wind down. That's kind of the thing. Like a Davis Lomachenko fight, I don't think will happen because Lomachenko's 37 already. So
Mhm.
like, you know, I don't know. I don't know how much more he's got in that regard, but I did think of one, and I don't think
Okay.
it's going to be likely because of a number of things. But Inoue doesn't have an opponent anymore. His opponent pulled out.
Mm.
So his
And
first fight in America,
yeah.
but he'd be going up like 5, no, 8, 10 pounds, something like that. So,
Well, Lamont Roach in this fight came up a weight class to fight Tank.
oh,
So this isn't like the fight, you know. So I think what would that mean? That would mean he would go down a weight class and Inoue would come up one, or maybe
well,
yeah.
Inoue is what, super feather?
I think Inoue's 126.
That's featherweight. So then he'd go up 2.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
he went up to 133.
Yeah, but Lamont Roach could go down one because that's where he normally fights.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're saying Lamont Roach and Inoue.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying Tank Davis in Inoue.
I was saying that, yeah.
Oh, now see, I think Tank is a little too big, but like,
That's what I was saying, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Dude, Lamont Roach in a way could be interesting.
That I didn't even think about that, and that could be.
Yeah, like, I'd watch that. Anything that happens, like, we just need to make a big fight with Tank, and we just need like, Lamont kind of is owed, he probably lost out on millions of dollars by not winning this fight. Like, he's
Mm,
I feel like boxing owes him, though boxing obviously doesn't owe anyone anything because it's like, whatever. I wish for him the ability to get like another big fight with like
right.
a big time name so that he can get paid well and have a chance to prove himself again, right? Because for all intents and purposes, if the ref had done his job and called that knee that Tank took as an actual knockdown, Lamont Roach won this fight. He
Mhm.
would have it on two judges' scorecards. Yeah. How did you score it by the time it got to the end? Did you have it for Tank? Did you have it for Lamont?
I had it pretty even. I think I gave because again, I waving off
The knee,
that
yeah.
knee. I think I did have him up. What? So two rounds. So it would be like 8
7
to yeah 7-5 then. So
for
yeah,
Roach
no for
or
Tank.
Davis? Oh, okay, yeah. Which, like, I guess could make sense because like, the first 4 rounds, like, nothing happened really.
Yeah,
Like, I could see. But I had it 7-5 Roach, by the end.
which again
Um,
I could really see too. So
yeah, like, I mean, they really should run it back. I think that would be it'd be a worthwhile rematch to do.
yeah,
Um, yeah, but if Tank is gonna just keep not right, and, like, I think just taking that knee because he got something in his eye rather than fighting through it is, like, such a good indicator of, like, he doesn't quite have the same competitive spirit that he used to have. Yeah, it's, yeah, what a weird fight. I thought,
yeah,
like, the back half of it was pretty entertaining. First
yeah,
half
yeah.
wasn't very good, though.
First half
Um
was very much that I was like, okay, like going through the same thing, like feeling out, like,
Mhm.
and that's part of boxing, but in particular Tank Davis's
Yeah.
fights, so
Yeah, it's
yeah.
just yeah, I think he's like what he averages 30 punches around, which is like super low. Which did you see the co-main event on this one?
Who was the co-main?
It was Ryo and God, what?
I'm trying to remember what
But it doesn't
happened.
sound like you watched it.
I had it on in the background, so
But like what over 1,000 punches thrown by one of the fighters
oh
in the co-main,
yeah,
right? Compared to the kind of anemic total that Tank Davis throws. But it got pretty good, like especially around like round 7, round 8. Like it really started to pick up.
yeah,
So yeah, I thought it was a good match. Like I feel bad for Lamont Roach. He should have gotten the nod. And like I don't know what's gonna happen with his next fight. But I'd be pulling for Inoue or like Loma as an opponent, and then let's just do the Shakur and Gervonta Davis and kind of just let that happen and be done with it.
yep,
Overall,
yep. All
but
right.
that's what I'd say. Anything else from this weekend?
No, no, I think that's pretty much it. So, this upcoming weekend though,
We got picks.
we alluded to it earlier. We've got 313.
Yeah, and we got picks. It's Uncle Live Pereira. It's like not a lot of fanfare around this card. I feel like we are disappointed in the 5 round co-main turning into a 3 round Fiziev versus Gaethje, and then
Yep.
kind of just like a weird like. Here's my thing: like it's not a super bad card. It's just really weird.
It
I feel
feels
like,
weirdly cobbled together.
yeah,
Like,
like the matchmaking doesn't make because like seeing Jalen Turner on a card, I'm like, oh, really cool. Like a ranked lightweight striker. Who's he fighting? An unranked lightweight Ignacio Bahamundes, and I'm like, well, why is it that one?
yeah,
And then like King Green against Mauricio Huffy. Like, what is that fight? Like, why
yeah,
is Curtis Blades like one of I mean, literally ranked number 5 in the heavyweight division, probably actually the second best heavyweight besides Tom Aspinall, fighting somebody who's just coming off of the Contender Series,
yeah.
not another ranked opponent. Josh Van versus Ray Saruria, which is cool. Like, why is that not higher?
Yeah.
Um,
That's pretty much the only other fight that I'm like I think has one like implications afterwards and is like actually one good matchmaking and two like yeah has consequence. Everything else is kind of like you should win this, and if you don't, like what the fuck, like
yeah, it's it's a weird ass card. And also, like, hold on a minute, you're not gonna pay attention to the most unathletic man in the UFC, Alex Morono? How dare you? He's a plus 500 underdog. We stand behind Alex Morono. Um, yeah. Yeah, it's just one, it's like even the fight order. It's like you could
oh
easily
yeah.
get rid of King Green and Mauricio Huffy and put Josh Van and Reis Ruria as the curtain jerker for the pay-per-view. Like that's the right thing to do.
Mhm.
Um and like usually they put heavyweights on the main card no matter what, and they haven't done it this time.
Yeah.
It just is it's a weird ass card, man. It's a really strange card, and I don't know how to feel about it. We will make picks, but yeah, like I don't know. But I
Well,
guess
I got
like
some questions for you about this card
oh,
then.
all right.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of like criticisms and things like that, namely surrounding Alex Pereira and that like him maybe not taking this fight as seriously or whatever. Like, because the first thing was people highly criticize him for being in Strickland's corner in Australia and doing the whole like traveling all around to do so and thinking that would like affect his training schedule, affect his like circadian rhythm and like his recovery and everything. Do you have any thoughts on that or like care at all or like think like nah this doesn't really affect him, doesn't shouldn't really matter?
I think if you're spending your time being concerned about another man's circadian rhythm, like you should probably go outside and like talk to another human being. That's kind of my thought. I'm like, we don't know at all how seriously we will never know internally how seriously he took this or how seriously he took the training. I mean, even like this Tank Davis thing, like he went 12 rounds even though it seems like he didn't have the same competitive fire. Not having the same competitive fire doesn't mean that you can't go 12 rounds and still fight really like well,
Mhm.
right? Like maybe Alex Pereira is like training quite, quite intensely while he's traveling. Maybe
Yeah.
when he's home in Connecticut, we go, "Oh, good for him for not traveling," but he doesn't train as hard. Like we have no idea, and like who gives a shit? If he didn't do it, then he'll lose to Ankalaev probably, and then we'll go, "Okay, Ankalaev won." Like right? Like I don't care.
Mhm.
Right? Like if he shows up and makes weight, like good, right?
Yeah.
Like he's been given the chance. It wasn't like it was short notice. Like I don't. Nah, man, I don't give a fuck. Like
Okay.
people freaking out about that. I'm like, whatever. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
go outside.
Yeah.
Go.
I don't see it being an issue, especially since he is used to traveling internationally all the time for fights. So
And even if it
like
is an issue, like whatever. Like that's life. Like who cares? People have issues that happen all the time, whether they're traveling or not. Like
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
fair. Fair.
Yeah. Um. Yeah.
Second thing, apparently at the start of this fight week, final prep, Alex Pereira weighed like 232 pounds or 230, something like
Hmm.
that. So he's got like 25 pounds plus to lose.
Hmm.
Um,
I think that's
yeah,
pretty normal for him, right? I
I
think
feel like
like
it is. I feel like people were blowing it out of proportion that he has like so much weight to lose the last week, and I feel like that's normal for this guy. Like he's a freak who just cuts a ton of weight. Like
yeah, like I think he weighed 240 on the night of the fight the last time he fought, or when he fought Khalil, or maybe the last time he fought
I think it
Yuri.
was Khalil around here. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's huge. So like I don't know. There's weird energy around this fight, I feel like, because there's like a lot of people like like it feels like people like hedging their bets, like sadness hedging in case Alex Pereira loses. People are preemptively trying to find excuses to be like, "Oh, it was because he was traveling. Oh, it was because his
Oh.
weight was this whatever." It's not actually that Ankalaev beat him, right? And like it is again this weird thing of everyone talking about like Ankalaev also being like, oh, he's from Dagestan and he wrestles so good, and then you like look at his numbers and you're like, he has like a really low takedown average per 15 minutes. He has like a really low takedown success rate. Like he isn't actually a wrestler. Everyone just says that, but he's primarily a striker. So it's like I don't know. It feels a little like everyone got on the Alex Pereira hype train. Everyone's excited about Shama or whatever the fuck, and now they're going, oh no, we think he might lose, so I must therefore preemptively come up with reasons why he lost.
Mm.
Um, which is just like, again, we don't know how hard he trained, and he was short notice for a lot of these guys. Just because he's in Connecticut driving his like riding lawnmower around his piece of property doesn't mean he's training any harder than when he's like in Australia, right? Like we have no idea, and like for like his weight, yeah, I think it's pretty normal that he's this big, and even if it's not, even if he's slightly heavier, like maybe part of the game plan is be a little bit heavier so he's a little bit hard to move around if there is
Mhm.
grappling, right? Like I don't know, it's striking me a lot like bro science and people weirdly, I don't know, getting attached to Alex Pereira and being like, I need to come up with a reason why he fails if he does.
Yeah,
um,
like to soften the blow almost.
yeah, and it's just like this is just a little like silly, I feel
Mhm.
like, right, you know,
Yeah.
this is yeah, whatever,
No,
like yeah.
we're in agreement there. We're 100% in agreement then. So
Yeah. Yeah. People need to fucking like calm down. It's like it's gonna be fine. Now if he misses weight, then we can go like, hey, you ruined the fight that was scheduled and it took away a main event from a card. And as a consumer, I'm upset by that. Um, and maybe I can point to some things that show that you weren't like taking it as seriously, so you couldn't act as professional and make weight. But he has not failed to make weight yet. So therefore, like I don't know why we're freaking out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing with like Uncle Liev being like, I promise I'm gonna take you down endlessly, and it's like you say that in every fight and you never take anyone down.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the fuck like you get off saying that. Like you never take anyone down, man. So I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah, silliness, silliness, silliness. Yeah. Anything else about that one? Is there any other wild conspiracy theories out there about like whatever new tattoo he has?
No, I just keep reading of things, and exactly like you said. When you have that frame of reference now, or that mindset, it's like, yeah, people are just looking for like things to soften the blow if Alex Pereira does lose this fight. You know,
Yeah.
it does seem like that.
Yeah, and I've been seeing like this huge like I mean everyone right talking about this whole fight was like this is the guy's kryptonite. It's Alex Pereira can't grapple. Magomed Ankalaev is like a Dagestani grappler, and it's like he is from Dagestan, but he's not from the Abdulmanap camp. He's not from the Nurmagomedov camp. He is not as heavy a grappler. He's like he is a ground guy, but like there's a reason he's not the champion. He chose for 3 rounds to get leg kicked to bits by Jan Blachowicz before even shooting his first takedown. He routinely like chooses not to go for takedowns. He tried not to get takedowns against Rakic, and the one takedown attempt he had was stuffed by Rakic. Like Alex Pereira was able to stuff Jan Blachowicz takedown attempts. Like Alex Pereira has been improving his grappling. There's no evidence I've seen, at least on tape, that like Magomed Ankalaev actually has a game plan that has functioned in the last 5 years that relies on takedowns. So I don't know why everyone's suddenly like thinking like, oh no, Alex is gonna just get taken down and like beat to bits. Like in my mind, I mean, we're gonna get to our picks later this week, but I'm like, this might look like Ankalaev going out there and trying to outstrike Alex Pereira, and we know Ankalaev has been susceptible to leg kicks from Jan Blachowicz, uh, Alexander Rakic, and Johnny Walker of all people.
No,
Like, why the fuck would that not work for Alex Pereira, right? And if Alex goes, I have to leg kick, and then I have to sprawl really hard and try to like stop the grappling from happening, like that's a pretty easy game plan to prepare for, no matter
Mhm.
what continent you're on or like what, you know, how much you weigh. So that's my thought process. I said it last week as a joke, but this is Magomed Ankalaev has finally gotten his title shot to lose to Alex Pereira, right? Like he's finally getting his chance to go out there, be a donkey brain fool, and then like, yeah, lose to Alex.
Yep. All right. Well,
Yep.
yeah, we'll get to our actual picks on Friday, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Spoiler alert there.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's yeah. A weird and then like I don't know. I guess like what do you if let's just posit if Alex I mean, I guess it could be win or lose. What do you do with Alex Pereira regardless of what happens after 313?
Oh, uh, go up to heavyweight.
It's gotta kind of be it, right? Especially like
Yeah,
it sounds like Tom Aspinall today just put out like a video saying, like I don't know what's holding it up. I just want to fight. John Jones keeps like keeps getting pushed off. We can't get a date. We don't even know if the fight's gonna happen. It's like if John Jones is gonna play hardball and maybe never does fight Tom Aspinall, like win or lose, Alex Pereira should just move up to heavyweight and fight Tom Aspinall, right? Like
yeah,
that's got to be the move.
yeah. I'm with that 100%. So,
Yeah. If he loses, would you want to see a rematch against Ankalaev or just let the division move on?
mm,
Like
I think it
move on.
depends on how he loses.
Say more words.
Like, okay, if he really is just taken down the whole time, like
Hmm.
if let's say that Uncle Ive actually is a grappling savant and just
Hmm.
opts to not do it, and then
Hmm.
he has the grappling day of his life. The problem with that is if he were to move up and ignore Uncle Ive, then we also know now like what the for sure like what the game plan is against him. And
Hmm.
Tom Aspinall is a good grappler and is much bigger than Uncle Ankalaev, and dare I say, much faster than him too. So
Yeah.
it would just play out the same. I feel like, you
Hmm.
know. So if it was just like a pure wrestling match that way, then like yeah. And then if he somehow beat him on the feet, I feel like Pereira would want to like right that wrong almost. You know.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely not going to be able to beat him on the feet, though.
Yeah.
I
Oh
get
no
it,
no no.
man. Yeah.
But okay,
Yeah.
what is more likely? Alex Pereira, regardless of the outcome of this fight, moves up to heavyweight or moves down to fight DDP.
No, 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 no. He can't. I don't think he's going to move down ever again. He can. He has the chance to either fight at this division, and he could invite DDP up to fight him.
Okay, I'd
Um.
say that. I'd say that then. How about what's more
Yeah.
likely then?
Or go
Because
up to welterweight.
that would be a reason to stay at light heavyweight.
Yeah, I think most likely it will be less about what Alex wants and say like it's definitely about the UFC, right? They can
Hmm.
use Alex as a bargaining chip to bring John Jones to the table to have this unification fight with Tom Aspinall, or if John really is playing hardball, they can go like, great, we're just gonna strip you. We already have an interim uh, champion. We can just make him undisputed and have him fight Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like. I don't know how Tom Aspinall's like negotiating tactics are, but I assume he's not negotiating for like the best pay. So it might actually be cheaper than paying John Jones's large bag of
Oh,
cash.
it'll definitely be cheaper.
Yeah, so that'd be my assumption. Is it's most likely going to be, um, like win or lose, Pereira will be used as a bargaining chip, to go because like Pereira lost at 185 and then he just moved up to 205 and like his career actually got better at 205. So like
Yeah.
it won't really matter, um, yeah, overall. And I think like my thought is like the UFC wants Pereira to win. They don't seem to like Ankalaev too much, especially because he's had like he was all set up to be the next title holder after Glover Teixeira or after Yuri Prochazka relinquished the title, and then like he had that draw with Jan Blachowicz. Then he had that DQ or no contest against Johnny Walker. Like he routinely makes like pretty dumb decisions, like
Hmm.
constantly fouling people. Like he's not the sharpest dude. I think they definitely
No.
keep him
No. I
away
mean, we
from.
talked about him making many a donkey brain
Yeah, yeah. We'll
decision.
talk about it
So
more. But yeah, I think Pereira Aspinall probably is the biggest fight that they're gonna make this year,
mm,
unless Connor does come back. But who knows if that'll happen? Anyway, all right. Well, that was this like weekend. It was like fouls and people not calling things appropriately, and combat sports being an absolute dumpster fire, and a little upsetting.
yep.
But
Yep.
moving forward, on Friday, we will make picks for upcoming UFC 313. We're going to do main, co-main, finish, decision, and underdog. 5 picks.
Mm,
Sound good? Um,
sound good. Yeah.
awesome. And we already know which way I'm leaning for the main event. Yeah. Anyway, this has been Two Fight Fans podcast. I'm one Fight Fan Stuart.
I'm the other Colin.
And hey man, not Alexander Rakic. Sorry, Magomed Ankalaev. Boy got donkey brains. Bye everybody.
Bye.